Most people make major financial blunders before turning 40. You can avoid becoming another statistic because the financial traps I'll reveal are the same ones I fell into, costing me years of savings. Avoiding them will save you more than most people earn in a decade's salary raise. Think of it like this: small financial missteps, that extra dinner out, the unnecessary gadget, they're not insignificant. They're the slow, insidious rot that quietly eats away at everything you've worked for. Before you know it, the damage is deep and incredibly expensive to fix. If you're in your 30s, 40 seconds, or even 50 seconds, you might think you have time to clean things up later. That feeling's comforting, but dangerously misleading. Time is your greatest asset in building wealth, but your worst enemy when wasted correcting bad decisions you didn't even realize you were making. Right now, silent saboteurs are eroding your savings, your future freedom, your options. I'm not here to scare you, but there's something critical you need to see before it's too late. In a few minutes, I'll reveal the mindset shift that can stop this silent erosion. But first, you need to meet someone who thought he was safe until the cracks appeared beneath his feet. Meet Jake. 35, works hard, decent salary, feels he's doing better than most of his friends. On the surface, he's the guy people point to and say, he's got it together: stable job, nice apartment, a head-turning lease car in the parking lot. But there's something Jake never talks about, and it's precisely what could cost him everything. In the next decade, every raise Jake gets, he rewards himself: a new phone, a better vacation. He tells himself, I deserve this, I work hard, and he's right, hard work should pay off. But what he doesn't see is how each new expense quietly traps him in a cycle he can't break. His salary goes up, but so do his bills. His savings? Barely enough to cover 2 months' rent if something goes wrong. He keeps saying he'll start investing soon, maybe next year, when he figures things out. He promises to read up on retirement plans when he has time, but time has a way of punishing those who squander it. Jake has no idea that while he sleeps, the clock isn't just ticking, it's stealing the future wealth he'll never get back. What about you? Have you ever considered what seemingly harmless habit today could silently steal a decade of freedom tomorrow? There's one decision Jake makes every month that seems innocuous, but it's the root of his slow downfall. I'll show you exactly what it is in a moment. In your 30s, the world feels wide open. Promotions come faster, salaries seem bigger, and for the first time, many finally feel comfortable. That comfort is precisely where the silent danger festers. Jake isn't reckless. He doesn't gamble, he doesn't splurge on luxury cars. But each small upgrade, each night out, each streaming subscription he forgets to cancel, these small leaks add up to something far worse than he imagines. Most people in their 30s believe the real problem is not earning enough, so they chase better jobs, side hustles, promotions. But they rarely fix how they handle the money they already have. That's the trap. As income grows, expenses silently expand to match it. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. Imagine pouring water into a bucket full of invisible holes. It looks full for a while, but try saving anything for the future, and it drains away. Another costly habit at this age is delaying investment. People think they have decades to start. Technically, they do. Mathematically, they don't. Compound interest works best with time, not just money. Every year Jake delays investing is a year his dollars fail to multiply themselves. Think of Warren Buffett not as the billionaire he is today, but as the kid in Omaha buying his first stock at 11. While most kids were riding bikes or trading baseball cards, he was reading financial reports. He didn't wait for a huge salary. He started small, but early. And decades later, the magic wasn't in how much he invested, but in how long he let his money grow. Buffett's fortune isn't a story of genius. It's a story of time and patience. The question is, how many years are you letting slip by, waiting to feel ready? Then there's the lack of an emergency fund. A sudden job loss, a medical bill, a car breakdown, they send Jake straight to his credit cards. High interest debt starts to grow, another invisible drain that never sleeps. He doesn't see it yet, but his 30s are planting seeds for 2 possible futures: financial freedom or silent suffocation. Which one are you planting today, without even realizing it? There's a mindset that dictates which future becomes real, but I'll get to that after you see how the next decade tightens the trap even further. By the time Jake hits 40, his life looks even better on the outside. A promotion, a bigger house in a better neighborhood, a growing family he loves to provide for. But with each new layer of comfort, another hidden cost binds his future more tightly. He tells himself he's stable, that he's built enough security to relax a bit. But the illusion of security is more dangerous than any obvious risk. Most men in their 40s fall into this comfort trap. They spend generously on their children's education, family vacations, home improvements, all in the name of quality of life. None of that is inherently wrong. The problem is what they silently sacrifice, their own retirement. Jake maximizes his lifestyle but skimps on his retirement contributions, convincing himself he'll catch up later when the kids are older. Later rarely arrives. Old debts, like lingering car loans or a persistent credit card balance, silently siphon away money each month that could have been compounding for the future. Worse, many stop tracking their spending, thinking, "I'm making enough, so why worry?" This false confidence blinds them to the clock. The window to correct mistakes shrinks with each passing year. How many of those windows have already closed without you noticing? But here's what Jake and millions like him don't realize. At 40, every poorly spent dollar costs twice as much because it has half the time to grow. The pressure to appear successful, to keep up with colleagues flaunting bigger houses or newer cars, keeps men trapped in a race they can't win. This is the middle-class trap. Work more, spend more, own more, and silently own less of your own future. Most people never break this cycle, but there's a singular shift that can slam the brakes and redirect the train before it completely derails. I'll detail that after we see what happens when Jake ignores the warning signs and hits 50 with little time left to hide. Turning 50 brings an uncomfortable truth Jake never expected. The margin for error is gone. He still earns well, but his biggest advantage time has slipped through his fingers. The kids are in college, the mortgage isn't paid off, and the savings he promised to boost later aren't enough. He begins to feel the weight of every decision he postponed, but there's a reaction that makes everything worse. I'll come back to that in a second. Men in their 50s often face the greatest financial stress of their lives. Health issues arise, job opportunities dwindle. Some even face unexpected layoffs, and finding a comparable job at that age isn't easy. Under this pressure, many panic. They cash out retirement accounts too early, borrow money from their future, or max out their credit limits just to keep old promises alive. These quick fixes bury them deeper. A silent but cruel trap here is comparison. Jake looks at old friends or coworkers who seem to have done it right: bigger pensions, paid off homes, travel photos that sting like tiny reminders of what he put off. This comparison becomes costly. To soothe a bruised ego, he spends more to feel less behind. New car leases, unnecessary upgrades, gifts nobody asked for just to keep up appearances. Each swipe of the card is a slow bleed from an already fragile safety net. Have you ever spent money just to feel less behind? What did it truly cost you? But here's the worst part: many ignore how money and health are intertwined. At 50, an unexpected illness can wipe out savings faster than decades of poor planning. Jake never prepared for this, and now the margin is razor thin. Yet, even at this stage, all is not lost. The mindset that traps men like Jake can also liberate them if they face the truth and act with urgency. But blind action won't save you. The change must be precise. And that's exactly where we're going next. The true turning point and how to break free. No matter how deep the hole seems today, Jake's story isn't special. It's painfully common. And if you see parts of your own life in his, you're already ahead, because awareness is the door most never open. The question now is simple: how do you stop the leak, repair the damage, and rebuild when time feels short? The answer isn't glamorous. It's raw, uncomfortable, and demands sacrifice. But that discomfort is cheaper than regret. The first step is brutal honesty. Jake has to list every debt, every monthly bill, every hidden drain on his paycheck. Many skip this because facing the truth hurts, but a vague budget is a silent killer. Once the numbers are clear, the next move is ruthless. Cut expenses that don't buy freedom. That gym membership nobody uses, the cable package with 200 channels he never watches, the forgotten subscriptions buried in email clutter, they all have to go. Small cuts seem insignificant alone, but together they can buy precious breathing room. Debt must be tackled strategically. High-interest loans first, credit cards, payday advances, these are the termites in the foundation. Jake must negotiate lower rates, strategically transfer balances, or even seek professional help if the mountain is too steep to climb alone. pride has no value when creditors own your tomorrow. Then comes the change most men resist. Start investing immediately, no matter how small. Not next year, not after the car is paid off. Now, because every dollar invested today buys back a piece of lost time. Don't chase quick returns or risky bets. Consistency wins this war. Robert Kiyosaki said it best: the rich buy assets first, comforts later. Finally, mindset is the backbone. Jake must accept that showing off is poison to freedom. He must care more about invisible security than visible status. But how does he stay on track when temptation hits hard? That's the glue that holds it all together. And it's what we'll unpack in the final leg of this journey. Everything Jake cuts, every dollar he redirects, every debt he kills, it all means nothing if he doesn't safeguard the habit behind it. This is where most men slip up. Discipline isn't about iron willpower. It's about designing a life that makes good choices automatic. Imagine this: every morning, before Jake even opens his phone, a silent machine in the background grabs a portion of his paycheck and deposits it into an account he can't touch. No noise, no choice, just pure, silent automation. Like a smart irrigation system watering a future he hasn't yet entered. Jake doesn't realize it yet. He still thinks motivation will carry him through the tough days. But motivation evaporates when stress hits. There's a better way. Start with systems. Imagine a digital calendar blinking once a week, reminding Jake to spend 10 quiet minutes reviewing where his money went. It's like checking the pulse of his financial health. Simple, quick, but life-saving. No stress, no surprises, just clarity. And then, once a month, there's a ritual. Jake sits at his desk, coffee in hand, reading a new book on money, mindset, or habits. One book, one lesson, one shift. The pages stack up like bricks in a wall between him and his old mistakes. That reading time becomes sacred, his personal fortress against ignorance and overspending. Discipline is quiet, boring, and repetitive. That's its power. It outlasts market hype and flashy promises on social media. Naval Ravikant once said, "Make money with your mind, not your time." But to do that, Jake must keep his mind sharp, reading, questioning, adjusting. Think of consistency not as discipline, but as invisible armor. Nobody sees it. Nobody applauds it. But every time Jake follows his plan, that armor gets thicker. He doesn't feel it immediately, but when temptation or chaos hits, he's protected. He begins to treat mistakes as learning, not failures. Each slip reinforces the rule: protect what you've built, then expand it piece by piece. Old Jake believed luck would come one day. New Jake knows luck favors the consistent learner. Hearing this, you might wonder if it's too late for you to change lanes. But the truth is, the train moves as you move. What matters isn't what you wasted, but what you save and cultivate from this moment forward. In a second, we'll close this journey with a final truth that ties it all together. But there's something else you need to hear first. Jake's life didn't change overnight. There was no lottery ticket, no unexpected windfall. What saved him was a slow, stubborn commitment to stop leaking money and start planting seeds that could grow on their own. That's what separates those who age into debt from those who age into freedom, one quiet, boring decision at a time. If you've watched this far, you're not the Jake of 10 years ago, you're the Jake standing at the crossroads, fully aware of what's at stake. That awareness alone makes you an exception. But awareness without action is another expensive lie. What you do in the next 24 hours matters more than all the excuses you've used so far. Take one uncomfortable step today. Cancel a wasteful expense. Create that emergency fund. Call your bank and negotiate a lower rate. Small moves, but they break inertia. Then protect that momentum by learning relentlessly. Buffett, Kiyosaki, Naval, none of them relied on luck. They trusted patience more than hype. You don't need a bigger paycheck to start. You need fewer leaks and a plan to let time work for you instead of against you. Freedom isn't what you post online, it's what you feel at night when the debt collectors stop calling and your money grows silently while you sleep. So, if this opened your eyes, write in the comments, "I'm starting over today." And share this with someone you know who's living like old Jake before it's too late for them too. Your freedom is waiting on the other side of the habits you changed today. Now, go build it. Before we wrap up, remember one thing: no video, no mentor, no book can replace the choices you make daily. Knowledge is wasted without execution. You've just seen how silent mistakes consume decades of effort, but you've also seen that discipline and time can rebuild what bad habits destroyed. If you found value here, don't let it end when you close this tab. Share this with someone who's drifting through life like old Jake, someone who thinks they have time but doesn't see the rust eating their future. And if you're truly committed to rewriting your own story, leave a comment below. I'm ready. That single line is your proof to yourself that today you drew a line in the sand. Your freedom isn't anyone's responsibility but your own. It starts with you, grows with you, and protects the people you love long after you're gone. Thank you for staying until the end. I believe in the version of you that makes this worthwhile. Now go live it.